When you import from KCD into the online ordering platform, all of the gables are imported as full line drill. Now, if you're not sure the different type of drilling that Sherwood Shelving offers, please refer to our drilling terminology video. The design I've created in KCD is a simple two-room job. It's important to take note of your unit numbers, and you can see them easier when you're in the top view as compared to the elevation view here, especially on towers. It kind of gets hidden. Also take note that unit number 2, which is this tower, if we go back to top view, is actually 16 inches deep compared to all the other units that are 14 inches deep. Now, because I've entered each unit one after another and haven't deleted or gone to another room and then come back to a previous room and added a unit, all of the unit numbers are in sequential order. So you can see in this room, they're in order, and if I go into the second room, they're all in order. Now, this isn't too important, but it can help you or the installer when trying to find a particular unit. Now, I've imported this job into my online ordering platform, and you can see where it says section. This is actually the unit number. In Closet Pro, they're called section numbers. In KCD, they're called unit numbers. And the thing you should take note of here is when it's imported, these unit or section numbers may not be in sequence. And you can see section 1, section 2, section 4, so that's out of sequence, and then it goes back to section 3 and section 6 and so on. So just pay attention to your unit or section numbers, because that will become very important when you're changing the drilling instructions for a particular gable. Now let's go ahead and do this. If you don't know this little trick, I want to, if you only have one monitor and you want to split this, it's good to take your drawings of the job and just click and hold on the upper part of the window, and as soon as you get to the side, your cursor, you let go, and that will be half your window. And then you can click on the other online ordering, and they're nicely split on your screen. And this is a good process because you're going to have to look at your drawings at the same time as you're making adjustments with the online ordering. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're looking at section or unit 1, which is the very first one. So I'm going to go to the elevation view, and I can see that section 1 is a long hang unit, and because I want line drill as opposed to full line drill, I need to make sure that all these gables have the proper instructions. So unit 1, quantity, I have one gable. The height is 23.425, which is my standard 2-foot gable. And if you don't have it in front of you, I would highly suggest you have the gable length chart right in front of you. I use it all the time when I'm designing, and it gives you the exact inches and millimeters for each of our gable sizes. So it's imported here. Under the drilling left, it shows that the top-down height is a 2-foot gable and the depth is 14. On the right side of that first gable, again, it's a 2-foot gable and the depth is 14. Now, what I usually do after I check this is I just click this minimize button, and that way I know I've dealt with that and I can move on to the next gable. So I'm looking at unit number 2 now, and because that's the tower, both gables are associated with that tower, and that's why we have a quantity of 2. So how do you do that? Each gable is going to have a different drilling. So right next to quantity, it looks like a double paper, and you just click on that, and suddenly down below you have an exact replica of that. Now, once I've done that, make sure you change the quantity. So I had 2, now I have changed it to 1 on each of those. Otherwise you're going to end up with too many gables, so you don't want to make that mistake. So here we have the full height of the gable and the depth, and as we noted before, the depth of this tower is 16 inches. So what do I need to do? I want on the left side of that gable, I want it to match the opposing gable. So instead of 86.417, I actually want it 23,425. So I'm just going to copy that figure, and on the left side I'm going to enter in and paste that 2-foot gable size, and then I'm going to change the depth from 16 to 14. Again, a big caution, make sure to look carefully at your drawings and make these subtle changes, because if you left this at 16, it's not going to line up with the other gable and it will not work. On the right side of the gable, we don't need to do anything. That's full line drill all the way down. But the thing that we should do, a new feature that Sherwood Shelving has offered, is for drawers, depending on the style of drawer and the style of drawer glide, they're always different, and they may not line up with the regular back holes of the gable. And so what we've done is we've added another line of holes to line up with that glide, and this will make it much easier for the installer. So I happen to know that this is a 4-drawer tower with a medium kick, and a 4-drawer tower with a medium kick requires 39.803 looking at my gable length chart. And so on the right side of this first full length gable, under drawer bank height, I am going to put 39.803, and my drawers are 16 inches deep, so I need to put the drawer depth as well. Now, by doing this, I will get that third line of holes, and I will not have to drill for my gable, or sorry, not my gable, but my drawer slide. Now, once this is entered in, I make sure everything is correct, which it does look correct, and I'm going to minimize all of this, and I'll move on to the next. Now, looking at that tower, I'm now looking at the right side long gable, and on the left side of this gable, it's going to be full line drill, 16 inches deep, and again I want to enter the drawer bank height, which we determined was 39.803, and the depth will be 16. So that's done. And on the right side of that gable, the opposing gable is actually a 4-foot gable, and so I want to change this full value here to 4 feet, and I see it down here, so 47.362. I'm just going to copy that value and then paste it into the right side of that gable. Now remember, this tower is 16. I need to change this depth to 14 to line up with the other gable. And after that's done, I can now minimize these and move on to my next gable. So I'm now looking at unit 4 on my online ordering, but I like to go in order of the actual drawings. So in this case, I want to look for the gable in unit 3. So here we have unit 3, and the gable is a 4-foot gable, and the drilling pattern on the left and on the right of that gable will be exactly the same. So I don't need to make any changes. I can just minimize these and move on to the next unit, which is unit number 4, which is back up here. And again, on the left side and on the right side, it's a 4-foot gable, and I don't have to make any changes, so I can again just minimize these. Now I'm going to go over to my drawing and look at my next room, And the first wall in that room on wall 2, I have a double hang and then a long hang unit. So unit number 5, I now need to look for that. And so there's unit 6 and unit 5. And it is a 4-foot gable. It's for the first gable on that double hang is 4 foot on the left and 4 foot on the right, and we don't need anything else. Now, see what I did there? I made a mistake, and that's okay. It actually has 2 gables associated with that unit, but the second gable is different drilling than the first gable. So again, what I'm going to have to do is copy that by clicking on this little button, and I've now made a duplicate. I need to change this to 1, and I need to change the other one to 1, but I need to open these back up because I haven't dealt with the drilling instructions for the right gable on that double hang. So the overall height is correct, and on the left side is a 4-foot gable, but on the right side I want that to be a 2-foot gable. So I'm going to change that right side, knowing that a 2-foot gable is 23/425 and it's 14 inches deep. Now I've completed that. So I caught my mistake and I looked that over, and on the right side of that 4-foot gable I have a 2-foot drilling at 14 inches deep to mirror the opposing 2-foot gable. So now I'm finished with that. I can then collapse that, and now I look for unit number 6, which was back up here, and that's unit 6. It's a 2-foot gable, and I'm going to have 2 foot on each side, and there's nothing I need to do there, so I'm just going to minimize those. So let's keep going in our drawing. So now on wall 4 in room 2, I have a short hang unit and also a double hang unit. But as indicated in the drawing, the double hang unit, the gable on the right hand side, I want finished. So we'll deal with that in a minute, but just don't forget that. So I need to look for unit number 7. And so I'm going to scroll down. There's unit number 8 and unit number 7. So unit 7 again has 2 gables, but because each of those gables will have a full line drill down both sides, I don't need to separate it. I can look it over and everything's correct, so I could just minimize those, and knowing that I've dealt with that. So let's go to unit number 8 now, which is up here, and on the left side I want a 4-foot gable, 14 inches deep, but on the right side I want this finished. So how do I get a finished gable? Well, first of all, you want to turn off the rail notch. Unless you want a finished gable with a rail notch, you can leave it on, but most finished gables will not have the rail notch, so make sure you take that off. And then on the right side, what you need to do is you need to zero out all of those numbers. So it should read under the clean drill pattern, it should say none, and all the rest should have zeros. You cannot have nothing in there, otherwise you will get an error. Which, by the way, on the very bottom, I didn't talk about this, but we have a validation error down here. And this validation error has a double quote and says, is not a valid product or supply. Don't panic about this. It's because when it was imported into the online ordering platform, there were some blank rows on the data sheet. If there's nothing in between the quotes, you don't have to worry about it, and you can just click it off. Okay, so back to unit number 8 then. We know that everything is zeroed out. That means it's going to be finished on that side, and I can now minimize those, and all of my gables, which show down here, there should be 11 total items or total gables on this job. And that's just a good quick check in case you've duplicated some gables. It's good to see there that I have 11 on the online ordering and I have 11 in my design. And that's all there is to it.